Hey, what's up and welcome back, treasure hunters. Got some thrift store finds today to go over that I've acquired over the past couple weeks, and I think you'll like what I found. So I've been trying to get to the thrift store more often just because I haven't been finding a lot of stuff. So I figured I would give some shots to different parts of the day, different days, and see what I could find. And I actually did find a decent amount of stuff over the past couple weeks. Here's the first thing I want to show you. And these are all painted tiles. And it does say Media Veronica down here, engraved in, or pressed into this one. And I looked that up, and I guess that's I don't know if it's the arena but it has to do with all the stuff I saw. I had similar images like bullfighters and all of that. And it is signed on the back. It looks to be E. Miller, dated 1965. I think that's what it says. But I just thought it was kind of cool and different. I tried searching. I mean, this kind of thing isn't, easy to search for just because you have to do a picture search, but trying to search for, painted tiles and everything else is kind of difficult. But seeing that it's mid-century, pretty cool, unique type of piece. I thought I could definitely get a nice profit off of this. And it still has a tag on here because this is a thing I just found for $12.66. I think I could probably get somewhere in the $100 to $200 range. Here's the next thing that I found. I picked this piece up at Goodwill, and it was only $3.33. It did come in a frame, kind of just a vintage black frame. But as you can see, and this was, sealed up, but there is no signature that you can see. But looking at this, you could tell, if you look closely, you can tell it's an etching. And etchings, are often, especially this style, were often done by artists, listed or well-known type of artists. Not meaning that everything is worth a ton of money, but I did take this out of the frame, and it is, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it is signed C. Homestead, or Homestead. And I just did a quick search when I got home and took this out, and this ended up being Carl Homestead or Homestead. And he did a lot of different etchings, landscape etchings, and everything else. All of his paintings and stuff were listed in the $400 to $600 range. I didn't really see any etchings quite like this, but I would assume that it would probably be anywhere in the $100 to $200 range that I can get for this piece. And again, what really caught my eye is I always look anytime you see an etching like this, and you can see on the back too, an indicator if it's an etching. You should be able to see like a little ridge here, like all the way around from the plate being pressed into it. It even has his fingerprints and stuff on the back. But anyway, I always check out etchings like this. Even if it's not worth a lot of money, usually you could at least, a vintage etching like this, you could at least get, $50 for it. So $3 is an excellent deal. Here's a piece of studio pottery that I found at Goodwill. This also still has the price tag, $3.33. And I picked this one up just because I honestly wasn't sure if this was going to be one. I've seen some like Japanese, factory type pottery similar to this style. And I thought this was honestly going to be a piece like that, but it is studio pottery. It's stamped JWC on the bottom, and there's no chips or cracks or anything. I knew this wasn't going to be, some monumental pottery piece, but pieces like this, I mean, you could go buy a cheap vase like this and pay $25 or something at like Home Goods. So, one of a kind, handmade, nice vase. I doubt I'll be able to tell, who the artist is on this, but for $3, I could price this $40 to $50 and make a nice profit. Here's another piece of studio pottery. And this one has a chop mark on the bottom, and so it's not signed. And unfortunately, the glaze has really run over into the chop mark itself, so it's really hard to make out. But I only paid $2.11 for this. It's really well made. It's got a kind of like a Japanese style to it. I don't know, for $2.11, this could potentially, if I figure out who made this, you could get a decent amount of money. I've sold smaller pieces of Japanese pottery for like $300, like crazy. So even if I can't figure out who it is, I still should be able to make, 35, 45 bucks from it. I did post this recently to a Facebook group, just seeing if anybody recognized or had any guesses on who the artist might be. And I haven't checked to see if anybody responded yet. But you can tell, it's professionally made. Even the bottom is very symmetrical, flat. The overall structure of the bowl is very symmetrical. So pretty cool little find for $2. Here's the last piece of pottery that I picked up, and this was also only $2. And I got this one at Goodwill. And this is just most likely like a mid-century bowl, and it's signed on the bottom, looks to be Jan. Even if I doubt I'll be able to find out who made this piece, but I could still make $30 to $40. So for only $2, definitely worth it. So here's my next find. I got this at Goodwill. This also still has a price tag. A lot of these stuff I recently got, I haven't even photoed or taken photos of them or anything. I got this for $2.11, and this is an original oil painting on canvas, and it was done by Martin Caton. And I knew that right away when I saw the signature, because I've got a piece of his from auction a little bit ago, which is about the same size, very, nicely realistic type painting. And his larger work, he did animals and all sorts of still life stuff, but very realistic paintings. His larger paintings can sell, $500,000, somewhere around there. But the smaller ones, obviously, these are real small pieces. I could still probably get 100 to 150, but it's in really good condition. It's only 8 by 10 for $2. Definitely take that every time. Here's the next piece I picked up, and I picked it up just because it was really weird. It's just this array of, different faces of this lady, and it is dated 94 and signed Mary Jo. And it is number 3 of 3. I had no idea what to think of this. I just got it because it's just different looking, and it looks to be on fabric. So I don't know if this was, I have no idea how this is made. I have no idea if this is just something somebody randomly put in here. I just don't know why they would sign it. So I don't know. This piece was confusing to me, but I got it for $4.66. Anytime I see weird stuff like this and it's under like $5, I'll always pick it up, even if it turns out to be worthless. More often than not, I've done that and been able to make a decent profit off of that weird thing that I found that I wasn't sure if it had any value or not. So at the very least, I could reuse the frame if this is worthless. Here's my next find, and caught my eye about this piece is the matching frame with the matting and the artwork. It's an original piece, and it's just kind of cool and minimalistic, but these are actually torn pieces of paper that are painted, and it is signed in pencil, Lerfold. So I didn't know what the last name said at the thrift store. I just saw this, and it had a price tag of $5.11. So I knew I could sell it for more than $5.11 just because it's kind of a cool, colorful piece in a nice frame. And I got home and did a quick search and was able to uncover that it was Lurfald, and name was actually Lawrence Lurfald. And I found a bunch of, his pieces. I didn't find any like this torn mixed media type pieces, but I found a bunch of other like paintings and stuff. And people were getting anywhere from $100 to $300, depending on what it was. Maybe a bit more for more elaborate pieces. But anyway, I definitely think I could get at least $100 to $200 for it, seeing that it's already nicely framed and everything. And I just like how we, did the layovers to create depth and stuff in the mountains and everything. So cool piece for $5.11. So here is another piece that I found at Goodwill, and this surprisingly was only $3.33. And that's what I'm talking about, where there were some much lower prices. I would never find a framed piece of anything, in the last probably year for under that $5.11 price point. So to see this at $3.33 was, I was pleasantly surprised. But this is a watercolor painting of these 3 Canadian geese, and it's signed Sharon Stolzenberger. And it's very easy to read. So all I did was notice that like it's a vintage frame, like all wood frame, and the matting's real nice. Got the double matting, and this is an original painting, watercolor, and the name was really easy to read. So all I did was did a quick Google search and found a whole bunch. Her work is in galleries and a whole bunch of other things that were at auction and stuff. But most of the listings, her work was priced anywhere from, the $300 to $400 range upwards to over $1,000, depending on if it was a larger painting or an oil painting on canvas versus a watercolor and whatever else. So this being a watercolor, I don't know, I'd probably price it in the $250 to $400 range, more probably on the lower end. So like $250 to $350, just because her work has been in galleries and stuff. So she might be a bit more well known, and it's really done well in a nice old frame. So I have to say this was probably my best find in the last couple weeks for only $3.33. Well, those are all the treasures I have to show you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a comment below and let me know what your best find was this year so far, out at the thrift stores or antique stores or whatever it might be. So I got to get out of here, but I really appreciate all of you and all your support. I'll be back soon. And until then, I wish you the best of luck out there treasure hunting.